What's going on, guys? We are here with Lucas King. Lucas, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really good, man. I mean, I've kind of had a little bit of a stressful week because of this shenanigans from this Seville. I think it's a lot worse than Hailgate, but that's what I'm looking forward to talking about. And yeah, just building on that, I think it's going to be a good conversation. But other than that, I mean, it's been real shitty. I've been real pissed off about this thing. But other than that, I'm doing really good, man.
For anybody who's watching, the description for Lucas' channel is in the description. So, what'd you think about the whole tiki burning incident?
Okay, so and by the way, I've decided that I do not care if somebody calls me a cuck. I'm not in this for anybody's approval. I know I am going to be called a cuck, and that's fine, because I care about white people. And what I've said from the very beginning, I'm not shamed. I'm not a neo-Nazi. I'm not quote unquote a racist. What I am is someone who loves white people, and I want the best. Hold on, looks like I had to shut my door. I have a black neighbor. And, I had to shut my window. Anyways,
that's awesome, man. Great way to start the show.
Real nice people though. But they're out there waxing their car right now. But anyways, I don't want to make any HOA enemies at this moment. But what I care about white people. I care about the 14. I don't give a shit about the 88. And my feelings is that whatever brings that goal, whatever strengthens that ends, is what I care about. So if I don't give a flying fuck about any personality, I care about white people. I care about our heritage. I care about our future. I care that we have an existence. And what's going on here? So the alt-right, and by the way, Ramsey Paul, again, a lot of the more extreme members, they don't really like Ramsey Paul, but I think Ramsey Paul's 100% correct. But what his most recent video was spot on. And he actually, by the way, remember when the alt-right was going mainstream? Milo, even though Milo was never a part of the alt-right, he gave them a fair shake. But that's why Bannon, I mean, Mike Cernovich was even like, it was a pro-white without being anti-anything. And it was blowing up. I couldn't believe it. It actually caused me to become more aware of myself and more okay. I started reading more extreme literature. Hey, nobody loves freaking Hitler memes more than me. I'm not somebody who says that Hitler is his cartoon book of evil. All that stuff doesn't matter. The point is, at the end of the day, what is best for white people? And the way things were going, it all got fucked up after Hailgate. Now, Hailgate ended up blowing over. I started warming. I hated Richard Spencer. Well, I didn't really hate him. I was just like, this made everybody look bad. I was pissed, but I was like, I started giving Richard more of a shake. When he started getting really popular, like the alt-right started blowing up again. And we made it this far. And this last movement, okay, the tiki torches, for example, God, look at the flyer. He knows exactly what the fuck he was doing. He knows exactly. Look at the flyer. It isn't obvious that those like Nazi symbols. And again, whatever you think about Nazis, that's fine. You could love Nazis and I'm fine with that. The bottom line is you don't bring that shit to the forefront. You keep it home. It's just like, hey, you may like, when your wife sticks dildos up your ass. That's on you. Nobody, that's your business. Keep it to yourself. That doesn't mean that now everybody should start accepting that about you. So, I mean, whatever people want, that's fine. I don't judge any form of white nationalism, but at the end of the day, you put your best face forward and you do what's best for white people. And I'm starting to wonder if Richard Spencer is a freaking agent provocateur like his buddy Andrew Anglin is. I mean, look at Weave. Weave is Andrew Anglin's kind of right-hand man. We've just said that they should take guns and harass people at the Charlottesville, that lady who died. Now, Richard, by the way, I think I've been tweeting the shit out. I've been kind of harassing him a little bit, and he changed all this. I mean, I don't know, but he condemned Jason Kessler because Jason Kessler called the lady who died a fat pig. And again, my point is even if it's true, why would you say these things? You have people, human beings, just in all culture, you have civility and decency. And bringing swastikas and Heiling Hitler is the worst possible thing. And look at what the end result is. No matter what you think about Richard Spencer, look at what even even American Renaissance, which, by the way, is as far as I'll go, but I love American Renaissance, and I love Jared Taylor, and I find him to be, he's the person who really red-pilled me. And look at his platforms getting shut down. I mean, you just gave the best gift you possibly could to the ADL. That's what happened. And so in a nutshell, that's my complaint. And to me, I believe Richard Spencer drove this movement to a fucking ditch. And I think that Ramsey Paul and Vox Day are 100% spot on. And I just wanted to get your opinion. I mean, what is your feedback on that?
Yeah, I've done live streams, a couple of them, and my opinion has been that it looks terrible for your
optics.
for your movement to have these individuals. And let's say you agree with them. Let's go with the cynical side. Even if you agree with them, you got to understand the rest of the population is going to hate you for it. So what you got to do is publicly say, hey, these are kind of douchebags and we don't, we're not a part of them, which they kind of, some people kind of have done that. They've said this is nonsense. Don't bring this. And I understand you can't stop people from coming. It's not, but publicly you can be on the street saying, make sure there's cameras around saying, hey, the reason why Martin Luther King always did so many rallies and marches in the South is because he knew the cops were going to act the way they did. Yes. And he knew that the cameras were going to be there.
Yep.
This you got to use psychology if you're going to win something. Now, I'm not saying I want them to win, but I'm going to be an honest person.
Exactly, 100%. And it's 100%. And the bottom line is, no matter what you think about the J or whatever you think about World War II, at the end of the day, when you think of Nazi, the average person, they think of concentration camps. They think of, Hitler, he thought Slavs were, he killed Slavs. He thought they were like subhumans. So it's like, we're not Nazis. I mean, to me, I think that all these Hollywood, like Anglin, I honestly think that he's an agent or something. I think that like his website is funded by the ADL. Now I have no proof of this, but it's everything that the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center makes as a cartoon Hollywood image of what a Nazi is, and I don't want to associate with that. So 5 years ago, even having any white identity at all was like already they associated you with Nazism, because there's never been anything in the middle. If you wearing costumes like the Ku Klux Klan, all you thought it was like Tom Metzger, white Aryan resistance skinhead movements. And these people were like drunken buffoons who had tattoos and beat people up. But what I didn't know about the alt-right, I learned because of Breitbart. I learned because of freaking Milo Yiannopoulos. Actually, I stumbled upon the alt-right actually from Gavin McInnes, of all people. And then I found Jared Taylor. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually an acceptable form. And I was like, so you can actually have white racial consciousness without being a thug or whatever. And I started researching and I became more and more red-pilled. Now, imagine 5 years ago, if this would have went back in time and I would have found that alt-right, under the circumstances I find now, I would have been my cuck block would have gone up. I would have been ultimate cuck. I condemn that. No way. Those are evil people. But because I know better now I know that obviously they got an unfair shake and obviously they didn't start the violence. I know the truth, but it's the optics. It doesn't matter it's what people think, and you got to present yourself better. And I don't agree at all with this. Don't punch right. That's stupid. It makes no sense. So you're telling me, if there's a group of people that says that only blonde hair that are 6 feet tall and that are in between 175 pounds and 220 pounds, anybody without those parameters literally deserve to have their heads cut off because they're subhuman and then offer their children to some god, then because that's extreme as you could possibly go, oh no, don't condemn them. It doesn't make any sense. You need to have boundaries. And we need to make those boundaries. And I'm very, very glad to know that you actually understand this, and that there's a lot of people that understand this. I'm quite surprised. But the reason that I take kind of this aggression out on Richard Spencer is because he took the mantle of leadership by himself. And I, by the way, I did some research, and actually he didn't really invent the word alt-right. It's actually not true, but he was associated with the beginning of that. And he took that mantle and he insisted on becoming the leader. And he took that car and drove it right into a ditch. And it's like, and also some other things is like, if you listen to Jared Taylor, now Jared Taylor, he's like on the cusp. I support Jared Taylor. I love the guy. he's not. He's even said himself. He's like, no, I do not support National Socialism. It's a horrible model for our modern time. He's not there, but he is kind of, you know, quote unquote. He talks a lot about black people, you know, and so he has kind of a bad reputation. But my whole point with bringing that up is that at the end of the day, he doesn't sit, when he makes an argument, it's like no matter how controversial he is, he will clearly make morals and intellectual statements, and you can't deny what he says. The guy is sound. Now, if you have Jerry, I heard Richard Spencer talk to Charles Barkley and have this interview, and I just was like, dude, what are you saying, man? You're making it sound so awful. Like, he's like, you know, like, he could have found common ground, but he kept saying, oh, you know, what is it? He talked about how the founding fathers sounded so faggoty, and he talked about like, no, we need identity politics. Now, identitarianism sounds better than identity politics. So it's just his messaging is bad. It's like, I get it, they're the same thing, but when you think of, if you just harp on, no, we need identity politics instead of identity, it's just one is just sounds so much worse, because when you think of identity politics, what do you think of? You think of leftism. You think of social justice warriors. When you think of identitarianism, I think about Generation Identitaire. You know, that's what I think about, which is they're not associated with Nazism. They're associated with strong European white men defending their homeland. And then you think of identity politics, which Richard Spencer insists on using that word. You think of social justice warrior, you know? Yeah.
Well, with the Richard Spencer and the Charles Barkley, I think some people, because I've actually heard people say this, Richard Spencer is more for the kids. That, you know, he's kind of the more outrageous living meme, if you would, to get their attention. And there's other people that are doing the more intellectual part. The problem is the meme thing is going to make you look bad to the intellectual people, which just hurts the cause in general.
Yes.
But I don't, you know, the whole FBI thing. Yeah, I love conspiracy, so I'll listen to it. But
yeah,
I just think he might not think everything out all the way. You know, he's not real quick on his feet. Maybe I don't want to call him dumb, because I know he's not dumb. But
no, he's not dumb. No,
he does dumb things at times.
He has a ton of degrees. I mean, the guy's been in it. Okay, so he's kind of a bad like, unlike, you know, like a lot of, like, how do I put this? He doesn't have a very good pedigree, for example. Like, what I mean by that, I mean, he doesn't look at academically, but, you know, Trump really represents this kind of rugged worker class. Like, it's like, you know, you're the forgotten man, and that he really brought that out in people. And all the people from flyover country, he really represented them, and he does such a good job at that. But if you look at Richard Spencer, he talks about elitism. He's saying how that's a good thing. He talks about how there should be this there should be this dominating elite that should, and he says he doesn't believe in democracy. And again, he's just sound bad. But if you look at his own pedigree, his mom is an heiress of like some fortune tycoon. His dad was like a really, really rich ophthalmologist. He comes from such blue blood background. He couldn't really find himself, so he just bounced through school after school after school, and I don't know. He just seems so intelligent that I just would suspect that he would do better than this, because the type of people that he attracts is people that's not really like him. The people he's attracting is really kind of the Tom Metzger type of people. I mean, okay, I don't know if I'm saying that right, because he does so well before he does these big charades. Like, for example, he's on. He did a great interview with Millennial Woes. Then he was on Jesse Lee Peterson's show and did a pretty good job. And it's like he does, and then I'm like, okay, I start to warm up to Richard Spencer. I really do. I tried to get him on the show. He agreed to be on my show, actually, and then he just stood me up. But anyways, like, he was doing so well, and then he does this. Then as soon as that he's at the height of popularity, he does that Hailgate thing. And okay, again, it blew over. And then he does this thing. So, okay, if I was to bet, somebody had a gun to my head and I had to get it right, I probably wouldn't say he's a federal agent, but I definitely would say that Andrew Anglin is. Now, Andrew Anglin, who's he's good buddies with, and he just insists on being with him. And by the way, if you look at all the the behind-the-scenes videotapes, you see Richard Spencer he does more of those freaking Roman salutes. He keeps saying he's in the car with David Duke, and you see the clip. He does a Roman salute, and he says "Hail Victory" like a bunch of times. Like, he looks like a moron. And then he hangs out with Andrew Anglin, and Andrew Anglin's computer guy, Weave, again, he has tweets that he's deleted saying that you should make pipe bombs and bomb federal buildings, make pipe bombs, that you should have drones that should drop bombs over federal buildings. They're deleted, but there's records of them. You can find them right now. He says you should take guns and protest the woman who died at that rally. It's like, okay, that is just way too out there.
Wait a minute. He said to go protest the woman's funeral?
Yes, with guns. You should grab guns and say and protest that fat commie, just like Jason Kessler did. Now, Jason Kessler all of a sudden realized how much heat he got. First, he said his account was hacked, and now he's saying, "Oh, I was drunk on Xanax and Ambien and all that kind of stuff." And Richard Spencer did the right thing, because I think he's getting so much pressure about this crap that he said, he's like, "I no longer associate with them. I disavow that person. I disavow that." So that's what makes me think that Richard Spencer's not an FBI agent. I think he just gets too ahead of himself. And yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's what Weave from Daily Stormer said, that you should be armed and protest the funeral of the lady. And I have a clip. I'll tweet it to you.
So what do you think about the Charlotte kid?
And the last thing, he's Jewish. He's fucking Jewish. How convenient. How convenient. What a coincidence that Weave is Jewish. And by the way, he admitted early on, I'm listening to I've been doing so much research trying to find out what the heck's going on, because it's too odd. It's like right when we get to a peak, you shut it down. And so I did all this research. And the last interview he did where he got asked the question was with, what's his name? Greg Johnson. And he was asked like 3 times, "So I heard you're Jewish." And he said no. And he dodged, and then he said no. But before then, he told like several people, "Yes, I have Jewish ancestry." But that was way before he was getting a lot of popularity. And what do you call it? And I know some people that sent me a bunch of proof. No, the guy is straight up a Jew. And it's very, very weird. So I'm sure the guy works for ADL.
Well, that's it's interesting that he would do that, because he might be doing it because he knows it would look bad for his side. So he wants to be more accepted.
Maybe that's actually a very good point. That could be possible. But when it comes to, but why did he suggest making pipe bombs and drones?
Yeah, dude, I can't. I'm not defending that shit at all.
That is his extreme, like right-wing extreme. That is the cartoon definition. That is literally the equivalent of Muslim and ISIS cutting off heads. That's his.
Where did he say this?
Yeah, he said, okay. The what do you call it? This is just like just a few days ago. I'll send you the links. Now the pipe bomb and everything, he's deleted them. I will send it to you. So I don't have it right here, but he wrote it in a tweet. He tweeted out to people that they should suggest. What he did, it was a tweet. That was a screenshot of what his suggestion was, and what do you call it? It's like, these are some ideas that you should take a drone and drop explosives off at a federal building, and you should use pipe bombs against the Fed.
Fuck me, dude. And he didn't say, "Hey, my shit was hacked."
Nope. He just deleted it.
Wow.
And then I'm sure he's just gonna say that it was just a meme or something like that. I mean, okay,
right.
A meme thing, but I don't know. It's like, I feel like every time we take a step forward, Richard or people that are associated with him take 2 steps back. And why would he associate himself with Andrew Anglin? I mean, Andrew Anglin doesn't make arguments. He doesn't talk about like, well, look at the history of Jews. What he does is gas the kikes, kill the Jew, or just gas the kikes, kike. He doesn't actually talk about, explain why. Like David Duke, for example, even though David Duke has the worst freaking record ever, and out of nowhere, I used to like David Duke. David Duke actually red-pilled me on the JQ, and I used to watch his videos. I forwarded him to my dad, and David Duke was like, "I'm 100% not a racist. I'm just trying to educate people about why we have all these racial problems," and he totally red-pilled me. And then when the alt-right started getting really popular, like Richard Spencer, just like the Daily Stormer. Daily Stormer used to be against the alt-right when the alt-right was actually decent and presentable. And then he co-opted it and took it over and said, "No, we're the real alt-right." Well, it really disappointed me when David Duke did that. Then all of a sudden he starts being best friends with fucking Andrew Anglin. And he starts going on his show and everything. So it kind of disappointed me. But David Duke, at least when you listen to him, he will give you such educated and researched answers. It's like with Andrew Anglin, all you get is gas the kikes. I'm like, okay, I get it, dude, but you could at least explain. I don't know, man. I'm going on these
Well,
little.
somebody suggested to me that David Duke is just like really excited that finally his movement that he's been, trying to get going for like, what, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
That he's just excited that he's finally getting traction and there's people that are agreeing with him and it's getting mainstream attention. So he'll just connect himself with, whoever just to.
I think you know what? That's a very good point, and I think that's probably true because, look, David Duke, what he pissed me off is some of the people. Well, I mean, come on, I can't judge him just because he decides to hang out with somebody, but like he associates himself with some pretty shady people. But when you actually hear what he says, he's very consistent. He believes in nationalism for all people. He says, I love diversity. He's like, diversity needs to be celebrated, but you need to have boundaries. That means you need to protect white people and you need to be for white people. But it's great, why not celebrate real diversity? Not just like, having, a big giant smoothie in America, but he means, we have our borders, you have your borders, but we can learn from each other. He said all these things, but he says that the JQ, for some reason, is the problem that's stopping all this, and it's only towards white people. He is so educated. So everything David Duke says is really, really good stuff. I mean, it's just that, again, I think you're right. I think you actually just explained it to me for the first time that I heard it, because I didn't understand that. I was like, why does he go and then he just ruins it all by hanging out with frickin' Weave or Andrew Anglin? And then, but I think you're spot on. That's the best answer I've heard.
So what do you think of the whole charlatan cop, the idea that the cops and the I want to say mayor pushed the alt-right people out into Antifa on purpose to create this huge chaos?
Absolutely. This was all planned 100%. And conspiracy or not, it is so clearly obvious that what they did was when they said no to the protesters, they were like, all right, we're going to get you back, motherfuckers. And they pushed them. They made the violence. It was divide and conquer. It was designed to get the alt-right. They were defending themselves. There was no violence. Okay, I heard Greg Johnson say, like, really, I mean, millennial woes sound, okay, so Greg Johnson debated Vox Day. That's the first time I've heard of Greg Johnson. And when I heard him debate Vox Day, I was like, wow, these two people are intellectual giants, and they're 100% spot on. But then I was like doing some research on Greg Johnson. I was like, he must have two sides of him, because he was talking to millennial woes, who, by the way, is pretty, he's pretty extreme, millennial woes. And millennial woes was like, actually, like, he was a lot more reasonable than Greg Johnson. Greg Johnson was saying, I want to support the guy who killed the woman. I bet you it was all self-defense. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was. But what I saw on camera, it didn't look like it. And bottom line is, it looked like it was on purpose. But regardless, you know what? Sacrifice him. Whatever. He killed somebody. Throw that fucking guy to the lambs. For white people. If you have to do, condemn that person. But at the end of what, we all know the truth. The truth is that it was all done on purpose. They wanted a violent reaction. They wanted to hurt those people, and they wanted to pin it on Donald Trump. That's exactly what they did, and they fell right into their hands. But you got to be smarter than them. Why would you fall into their trap? And I feel the most bad for what's his name, Baked Alaska. Baked Alaska, you could tell, has been slowly red-pilled. And I think he just took bad advice, and he was riding the popularity wave, and because he went to he's already famous, and I think he was used. Well, okay, used is not the right word. I think he was embraced, and he wasn't very careful. And look at what happened. Now he's blind. I heard he's getting better, and now he's forever associated with Nazis. When Baked Alaska should have been one of the best, poster boys for this movement, because he was a part of the alt-right. He was up there with Paul Joseph Watson, with Mike Cernovich, and now he's going to be ever associated with fucking swastikas. It's like, God damn it, man. Nothing good happened from this. Nothing good. But I will tell you, the evil of the people who caused this is so divide and conquer. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some people with some echoes who put this together. Yeah, man.
My idea with the guy who killed the lady. I think he was a younger guy, and he's part of a group that's seems to be fucking racist. But
yeah, isn't he part of the Traditional Workers Party or something like that?
I don't remember. The shield he had like two needles. It looked like crossing. If that helps. So I don't
like needles, as in
hypodermic needles.
Oh, really? No, I have no idea. Wow. So what is this thing like? What is that? What do they call it? Oh God, what do they call that? Eugenics or something? I mean, like what? Sterilize people? I don't know. I've never heard of it.
No clue. But
he was supposed to have been like a really, really extreme Nazi. Like he was supposed to be, or neo-Nazi. He was supposed to be real. See, okay, I will say when I'm talking about actual National Socialism, I'll say National Socialism. When I say Nazi, I'm talking about the hardcore Andrew Anglin, freaking Weave, 1488, like the Tom Metzgers. So that's why I'm using derogatory. But yeah, he's supposed to have been a Nazi, like actual neo-Nazi. And
okay.
So and he's also go ahead.
But he was a young guy, and I think what happened is that he got very frustrated about how the mayor closed down a fucking assembly that the federal court said, yeah, dudes, let them have it. It's a legal thing. And the mayor overstepped his fucking bounds on purpose, it seems, just to cause this fucking chaos.
Yep.
But he was frustrated about that. I'm sure he got fucked with. I'm sure he got attacked at some point.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
They're saying that he got maced, which I don't know. They're saying that his car was being attacked before he drove like a moron down the street.
Yeah.
My problem is he had, a half a block to stop? You know, if he was maced, then, if that could come out in court, my opinion would be totally different.
Yep.
And somebody did bring up a point where, well, if he was really trying to kill a bunch of people, wouldn't he go up on the sidewalk where all the fuckers were?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things going. But most people will just look at it for the face value of, oh, there was a Nazi rally. These freedom fighters came out to protest them. This evil racist ran them down just because of, well, they can't say the color because she was a white girl. But boy, and I know people hated that.
It's just sad. And like, again, I tweeted Richard Spencer this morning and I said, hey, I'm glad you took a principled stand on the Jason Kessler thing. But Jason Kessler, look at that guy. He used to work for, don't you think it's kind of weird that he used to work for, what's his name? The Pizzagate guy. God, dude, my mind's drawing a blank right now today. What's his name? John, he was the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. Podesta. John Podesta. He used to work for John Podesta. He was a hardcore Obama supporter. So, and he worked for Obama's campaign. I don't know, man. And then he does the weirdest thing where he sends out saying that fat, disgusting. This is what the tweet said. That fat, disgusting. That woman who died was a fat, disgusting communist. And he goes, communists killed 95 million. Payback is he's like payback is a bitch or something, saying that good, you should die and more of your kind should die. Like, once again, the Weave kind of freaking Andrew Anglin type of stuff. Like why would you say that and just discredit everybody who is involved, and especially poor Baked Alaska, who should be an amazing spokesperson for this movement, is now branded with that person now. It's like, but again, Richard Spencer disavowed that guy, and good for him.
Yeah, with the whole Baked Alaska thing, I thought he was over dramatizing it. I thought he just got maced, and he's like, I'm going blind. But apparently he had surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I was completely fucking wrong about that.
No, yeah. They think that it was, even the doctor said that they think that there's some type of car battery acid or some type of like construction acid or like, some kind of manufacturing grade acid mixed with bear mace directly in his eyes. Like, just, these people are vile, disgusting creatures. Now, the best thing that you should have done if you're going to get violent is, remember they showed a picture of a black guy who was literally flame throwing people, and a guy was illegally carrying a firearm, which I carry everywhere I go. Is he pointed his weapon at him and he said, put the can down, and he did. And if he didn't, he had a legal reason to shoot that person, and I would have defended him to the grave. Just like during the Milo Yiannopoulos rally, there was a guy, an Antifa, who got shot because he was going around hitting people and he hit the wrong person. He shot him, and the guy who shot the Antifa walked away scot-free because it was self-defense.
Yeah,
but
good.
You can't make the same argument between self-defense ramming a car into somebody. Just the optics, man, it looks bad. You know, and
Yeah, I won't be interested in the court and see what comes out, because they're not really saying much.
yeah, I don't know, man. And you're not, even if they are, nobody's going to cover it. Nobody's going to say anything defensive of him. It's a fucked up world. But it's really frustrating because you got so many people defending it. Faith Goldie, you could tell 100% she was on our side. Like all these people, Millennial was, all these people were really, dude, the Mike Cernoviches were losing. They were losing. The Jack Posobiec's were losing. And all the people who were just a little bit less cucky than them, but were still alt-right, everybody, the alt-right was growing so fast. It was growing faster than even the Trump years. Everybody was getting past the Hailgate thing. Everybody was past it. And then we just took, that was like 2 steps forward, 5 steps backwards now. And I think it's going to take at least 6 months to recuperate from this. Like to kind of, yeah, I'm going to start saying I'm going to call myself a race realist, identitarian maybe, but I cannot call myself alt-right anymore, you know, because the brand has been so damaged in my opinion.
I don't really call myself anything. I let other people call me what they will, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, okay, so I haven't had a chance to listen to that. Yesterday was crazy, but tell me about Beautiful Berserker. I like that chick. She's a friend of mine. So what was her points on everything?
On what part?
Like
the optics is bad. I think she kind of agrees with everything that I said and you said.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm not sure about the tweets and all that, but we didn't talk about that. But yeah, she didn't think it was overall a positive interaction between the two.
Yeah,
but she thinks it's the mainstream media's fault, and I think she's the one that brought up that the mainstream media wants communism to take over America, which I never even thought of. Not to that degree.
I think that what it is they want cultural Marxism. And it's Marxism. I don't know if it's going to be communism, but what they want is they want a docile, stupid, they want to blend the sexes. They want to dump people down, and they want to turn us into consumers, and they want to have a global elite. And they know that direct communism failed because if you look at how many deaths it resulted in, it caused nobody wants it anymore. You don't see, other than dumbass freaking decadent liberal college kids, nobody goes, God, I really want to have my government like North Korea. So what they do is they've gone through a different way. It's called cultural Marxism. Is they want to create this Marxist utopian state, but they want to do it through the culture instead of direct politics, because they know through direct politics it leads into bloody, genocide and government violence. They look at that. You just can't. Communism by itself was supposed to be a non-governmental thing. It was supposed to be, that's what they call anarcho-communism, was really the real type of communism. And the reason why quote-unquote communist countries called themselves socialist, because they weren't communist. They had a dictatorship, so it was socialism. It wasn't true communism. And it never went past socialism because it didn't work. So they're trying a different way, which is through basically making this big social chaos where you basically overthrow every type of traditional orthodoxy. So if men are, the leaders of society, then you need to get rid of men, or you need to, make men become marginalized. If you're poor, if rich people run everything, then get rid of rich people. If you're straight, you're the enemy. If you're gay, it's this never-ending like intersectionality bullshit. So see oppressed by straight people, but then it goes to gay people. Well, if you're a gay white person, then you obviously oppress non-white gay people. It's fucking lunacy. But this is what they really believe in, this Frankfurter postmodernist cultural Marxism, and I think that really it's the people with, I don't know, man. I could talk about it forever, but I really do think it's this kind of globalist elite, like the George Soros is. They know that the biggest threat to them is strong Western nations, and they can't take us on directly, so they want to slowly control our media, our finances, and make us into docile, non-combative, just consumers that won't fight back, and that we're too divided against ourselves to ever become a threat to their hegemony. That's really it in my.
What do you think of all the monuments being brought down? And what do you think? Hold on, before you start, because you talked about the gay people. What do you think of the meme that's going around of Martin Luther King's statue needs to be taken down because he was against gay people?
I think it's disgusting, number one. I think it's absolutely disgusting what's going on with the monuments, because it's like, I don't give a shit. It could have been Adolf Hitler. If the monument was old and it was literally a part, why take them down? I mean, it's like, I love history. We have to have some remembrance of history. And it reminds me exactly like the fucking communists, and exactly like the Islamists. Communists, what happened in China, what happened in Laos, Cambodia, they had these cultural revolutions where they created a new calendar system. They wanted to erase all of their history and start over, and they do that through burning books, through killing educated people, through burning and defacing statues. It's disgusting. And just like in all totalitarian, philosophies, and like including ideologies, including Islamism, where they want complete control over every facet of your mind and your life, and they have to erase symbols, because symbols are such a strong part of human being and human nature. Symbolism is everywhere in our lives, and if you control and destroy symbolism, it destroys and weakens resistance. And so that's what they want to do. They want to get rid of any type of mental and symbolic ties to these things, so they can control you. That's all it is. It's control. And
well, up in where you live, you guys, and I'm blanking on the goddamn name right now.
Vladimir
the
Lenin.
Guy who started communism.
Yeah, Vladimir Lenin, the guy who started the communist revolution. Yeah.
Lenin. Yeah. How can I forget that name? Yeah. What do you think? Why do you guys have? First of all, why do you have a statue of him up there? And second of all, so that should stay too.
Of course. Well, and okay, me personally, yeah. I mean, no. I'm kind of like, well, an eye for an eye. Because you're taking down our monuments, you better damn well take down those monuments. But it's only out of spite. I say keep it up there. That is an actual historic statue. Now, communism has nothing to do with American. But I'm saying the statue itself, it should not be on public property. It should be on private property. But why get rid of it? It is a historic statue. But I don't believe any statue should be getting rid of. But of course, if you're going to get rid of Confederacy statues or anything that has to do with white people, then or white nationalism or any type of nationalism, Southern nationalism, for example, then be fair. Yeah, get rid of communist nationalism or whatever, that. But I don't believe in getting rid of any of these statues. And you know what? If it was privately bought and funded, that Vladimir Lenin statue, then keep it. I don't care. Whatever. People are free to do what the hell they want, as long as it's not my taxpayers that are paying for it. If it's voluntary, do what the hell you want, man. I don't care. But I just don't like defacing and destroying symbolism.
Oh, so you don't know why it's up there, or why it was made?
Well, oh yeah, it was made because there was a person who actually bought it for like a couple $100,000. He's a rich person. He bought it and he donated it as art. But in Seattle, you got to understand, we are the cuck capital.
Yeah.
Seattle is the liberal bastion of the country. I mean, we are so bad here. It's unbelievable. That's why it's kind of shit that I'm from Seattle, yet I believe the way I believe.
It's a lot of the West Coast is like that. I think you guys get too much sunshine and too much nice weather or something.
Oh, no, we get too much rain. We're in the rain capital of the country. Seattle is. You're talking, that's southern, that's like California gets all the sunshine. Now that bleaching rains out. We get too much rain, so we don't get any vitamin D that helps us. It's like we're in the opposite end of the spectrum. But yeah, hey, just for the record, well, because people are going to hear this, I want to let you know that I'm very, very woke on the JQ. But that doesn't mean that I think that that I think all Jews are bad. I think that the average Jew is just as much of a victim to global Zionism and global, Zionist gangsterism as the rest of us. So I am definitely not somebody who believes in gas the kikes, but I call a spade, and there is definitely a cabal out there that is of a certain group that tries to destroy and divert everything about Western culture and Western values and Western pride and Western identity, period. But because I know, again, just in case this conversation ever gets out in the public, I wanted to make that official.
Well, we're live anyway, if you didn't know that. So, yeah, it's out in the public, buddy.
Oh, but no, exactly. And I know it'll be recorded. So, I mean, it'll go on your channel. So I just wanted to make sure that's clear. Anyways, but where you live at, what's going on? Like, what is where you live is the alt-right, is white racial consciousness, is identitarianism. Is it accepted at all? Like, what is it like? Are you in a liberal bastion, in other words?
No, I'm in a very Republic area. We don't really have that. It's pretty white where I am anyway. So,
do you think
if Antifa showed up here, they would not be welcomed at all?
Oh, nice. Good for you, man. You know what was funny? I went to Idaho, and I've never seen this, because if you look on a map, they have this map where oh shit! So yeah, I gotta get going here in a little bit, but they have this map of where it shows like it shows a color. It's a color blotted infographic map, and it shows like throughout the Rust Belt. It says there is more than the national average white people in this area, and then it'll show parts of like, for example, where there's the most concentrated number of black people is really the deep South, like Atlanta through to like Alabama and Mississippi. And it show, well, anyways, my point is that Seattle, Washington's known to be very, very mixed. It's very mixed. There's no one race that really has a dominance in this whole Western Washington. So I went to Idaho to take my kids to this, my kids and my wife to this place called Ironwood. It's like a theme park. It's like the closest drivable. It's like 5 hours east. Anyways, I was shocked. It is so white. So I've been told my whole entire life that white people, it's insulting actually, that white people can't, that we won't do certain jobs. Okay, so the hotel, I saw the farmhands, there was farms there, all white. It is the whitest place I've ever been to, but it was, I looked at the crime rate. The crime rate was so low. There was a mixture between rich people and white people. It was one of the places I had the least fear of being, walking the street at night. The hotel staff were all white, meaning like, I'm talking about the cleaning ladies. Even the cleaning ladies were all white. I went near a farm and they had like people picking strawberries. They were white. I've never seen anything like it. And I was like, this is a bunch of propaganda that says that white people won't do these jobs. I don't know, man. I mean,
well, where I'm from, we have a lot of farmland, and every summer you get the kids that go to high school, and they get in trucks in the middle of the town, and 5 in the morning they take them out to the fields and they de-weed it, or they, take whatever fruit they need or whatever. Absolutely. It's not that white people won't do it. That's what we got kids for. Although they did try to pass a law saying that this could be child labor, especially with the local farms who have families and their kids like work on the farms. They try to make it into a child labor thing that the kids can't work so many hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, that's not how, what the fuck? That's not farming.
Yeah.
My cousins grew up on the farm. Everybody fucking chipped in. When I went out there for the summer, just to, for visits, I got up in the fucking 5 o'clock in the morning and went out, and it's farm life. That's just how it is.
That's probably what builds your character, by the way. And I think that's probably what's wrong. I think that importing all these migrants that take all the jobs that really are for kids, that gives them a sense of character and work ethic. And I think that's probably I'm thinking this on the fly. I think that's probably a lot to do with what's wrong with our culture. I think you've taken away that, I think it's a rite of passage that, you're a kid and get off your ass and get off the iPad and go work in the farms, work in the fields, do some menial job, and it builds character. And then you start to know that you've earned things in life, and you start not to take it for granted. Because I think that the reason we have this cucked out generation of white people is because they've been so spoiled and so decadent, and all they've ever experienced is basically being coddled they didn't have to do any hard job, and then they go to school, and then they get taught how evil white people are, and they go and they join fucking arts and humanities and get worthless degrees, and then become baristas and freaking internet activists for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's your the city folk. That's the problem. Country folk, we're fine.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Do you have a lot of Hispanics where you live?
Yeah.
Now, do you have a lot of crime where you live?
No.
No, you don't. See, oh, wow. Well, I'll be goddamn.
Because I moved, I lived where there was some, there was a lot of crime, and I was like, I got kids. I don't want them going to those schools and shit. So I just, I left.
Yeah, smart of you, man. So what do you think, by the way, like, what do you think we should do moving forward? Like, what is your opinion? And I'll tell you mine after that.
On what?
On this one, I think and again, the reason I'm asking, because I'm wondering if you disagree with me. I kind of agree with Ramsey Paul that I just, or like you already answered this question, which is you don't really call yourself anything. You just keep doing what you do. You just keep, talk about, white consciousness, that it's okay to, you just keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to personally disassociate myself from the label alt-right, but I'm not going to say that I'm like, I'm absolutely pro-white. I'm absolutely a race realist. But you know what? I think actually, like you, I just won't call myself anything, but I'll just keep talking about the same issues without labeling myself.
Yeah, it's not up to me to decide what I am. That's like giving yourself a nickname. That's just weird. Well, I do my videos. I find people that are like are being dickheads to other people and just point it out. Especially when I'm getting like emails from white kids that are like, I feel bad about being white.
Of course.
What?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That
just blows my mind.
It does. And I used to be one of them. I was absolutely like that. And I learned it from school. I used to have an identity. I wanted to be Asian. I wanted to be Mexican. I joined a little Mexican gang. I wanted to be accepted into any other culture other than white because I was so ashamed of it. Because you were just taught that basically in school. I remember when I went to an all-white school in Bellingham, which is like a town that borders Canada. It's way up there north. And I remember like there was like one black kid and there was like one Indian kid, and they were automatically the most, well, not the Indian kid, but they were automatically the most popular kids in school just because they weren't white. Because you've been taught that basically everything about you, your fault. White people are horrible. They are the cause of all the world's problems. And that basically the only reason that other non-white people are so oppressed is because white people stop them from having anything. And I was ashamed.
What year did you grow up?
I graduated high school. Actually, I got a GED so I could join the Army. I ended up going back and finishing on this online thing. But anyways, I actually was expelled from school and then I joined the Army. I was a bad kid. But my graduation year date was supposed to be 2002.
Oh, you're a lot younger than I thought you were.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, I joined the Army. I thought you were like in my age group.
How old are you?
I'm almost 40.
Oh, yeah. I'm 33 right now.
Yeah. And you grew up in a big city?
I grew up all over the place. So I grown up.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I wrote, but yeah, I'd say most of my time was in Bellevue, which is kind of a little bit upper class version of Seattle. But then I moved to Seattle, and I was, I was involved in a lot of different things. But yeah, I'm pretty much a city dweller. That's correct.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I've lived in rural America, and I would say out of all the places I was the most happy was rural America. That's the happiest I was. In my,
you can't always get internet service like you want, but it's so peaceful. Yeah, and it's because we're not supposed to live in these goddamn motorcycles everywhere. We're not supposed to live in these huge fucking tribes like cities. We're supposed we're humans. We're supposed to be in small little groups.
That's right. Absolutely. I think it's more healthy. And yeah, absolutely right. Hey, brother, man, I'm glad you had me on, brother. I gotta get ready for my my religious service tonight. So I appreciate you having me on, man. I would like to come on again, and I'm sorry for the last few times I've had to cancel at nighttime. It was a long story, but
hey, I get it, man. It's late.
But it's and it's also because like my wife works late, and then we don't really. Yeah, it's a long story, but I'm glad you had me on, and and I love you, brother. You're always smart. I always agree with pretty much 99% of the things you say, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'll be on next time you have a live stream where it's public.
All right, buddy. You're always welcome back. Just let me know if you got something to say.
Awesome, my friend. Take care, brother.
All right, guys. We're out of here.
Bye.